Welcome back to the List Building Lifestyle. I'm your host, Igor Kafetz, and today I'm joined by none other than Bob Sparkins, the manager of partnerships and education at Lead Pages. Bob, welcome to the List Building Lifestyle.
Thank you so much, Igor. It's a real treat to be here.
Awesome, man. I want to talk about landing pages today, naturally, because I'm starting to realize that in spite of and it gets harder for me every year because we live, you and me, we live in this world of digital marketing where we understand all the concepts, the landing pages, the lists, the follow-up sequences, the tagging, the exclusions, the pixels and everything. But every now and again I would have a conversation with somebody from the other side, the darker side, the more unaware side of marketing. And every now and again, I would tell them something like, "Oh, you just need a landing page," and they're like, "What page?" And so I end up having to explain to them what the hell that is. Now, I'm pretty sure most people listening to the show understand what that is, but just in case, can you walk us through just the basic definition of what a landing page is and why does a business need one?
Yeah, so most people have the concept of a website as a place to send traffic, put on a business card, have as a profile link from social media. But a landing page is a page that is very focused on converting people from one idea to one action. That can be an opt-in or it can be a sale. It can also be a couple of other things, but for the most part, you and I, when we talk about landing pages, we're generally talking about building a list to get somebody to join as a subscriber. But you can also use a sales page as a landing page. The key thing: there should only be one thing to do, and that is to opt in or to buy. It shouldn't be try this or this or this or this or this or this. It's not like some world bazaar. It's not a choose your own adventure. It is very much a I have this challenge, I have this solution I want. Show me how to get it.
Yeah, actually yesterday, we were doing our Monday coaching call, and a student of mine asked me if they needed a website because they're just starting out with affiliate marketing. They were like, "Do I need a website that talks about who I am?" So if people try to look me up, I'll appear more credible. And I kind of paused for a second, and I thought to myself that up until a moment, I think I've made my first $1 million. I didn't actually have what we would consider a traditional website. Like there was no website that explained who Igor is and what he does. Like only later, I think way later, I might have put together something around that. But even then, for the most part, my team's been kind of chasing me and almost like saying, "Igor, look, it's time. We need to sit down and invest, some thinking time into planning out like a proper homepage, like so people can look you up and find out who Igor is." And I'm like, "No, they should find a landing page. They should find an opt-in form, get on my list, and that's how I'll tell them who I am." But yeah, it seems like the idea of a website is almost like a dinosaur idea. It almost feels to me like it's dying at this point because if somebody needs something, in my opinion, it's always best to stick a landing page in front of them rather than sending them to a website.
Yo, it's Igor. I want you to have my Amazon best-selling book for free for taking the time to listen to my podcast and to watch my YouTube videos. Now, I'm not only going to give you this book for free, but I'm going to throw in about $3.2 thousand in free bonuses. Now, if you want to get this book, please click the link in the description, or you can also go to igorsbook.com. And now, back to the podcast.
I think there's two things that are critical here in the parlance of website. So I would agree that somebody who is new online needs to have a domain, which some people confuse as a website, right? Theirname.com or their businessname.com. You need to have that, but that should point to a landing page for the first few months, if not first few years, as you mentioned, because you don't need all the bells and whistles of what a website could be. The second thing of this is a website still, even if you do have one, and we have a great website builder at Lead Pages too, so it's this is not a biased opinion, but it's just not going to convert as well as a landing page. So if you're going to put your energy, especially if you're on a side hustle mode right now, or you're in the newer phase and you don't have a lot of time to put into the marketing side of your business, you can give yourself the opportunity to be present online with a really good landing page and not spend thousands of dollars on a website or even spend the time to write all the content you think you might need on a website. Instead, just focus on that one page. Because for every 10 or 100 visitors that you get to your page, with the landing page, you're going to convert 3 times more people at a minimum than if you were to build out that website. And I want to emphasize this other direction if you don't believe me. We're living in an age where people don't care about your business, right? They care about themselves. They care about the challenge they're currently facing and finding a solution for it. And when people say, "Oh, I've got to get a website up," what winds up happening is you spend all this time telling the world about you, but if you focus on a landing page, you're almost forced to talk about your visitor instead. And that's really what makes the difference with a landing page is you're talking about the visitor. You're not talking all about yourself. And I think that's a really critical piece of why you shouldn't put your eggs in a website basket yet. And if you do have a website, make sure it's still focused on conversion. It's still focused on what are the challenges you can solve. And it's not just a brochure of how awesome you are. People will know how awesome you are because of your testimonials and because of actually working with you, not reading a 55 paragraph long about us page.
Yeah, like the idea of a classic website, my problem with it today is after having gotten my start in the direct response um, direction, let's call it this way, where I've been taught that anything I build online, and if I'm sending traffic or visitors to any page, that page just has to be building my list. The idea of having a classic website is just a really bad idea to me, because what it does, it creates, like you said, a choose your own adventure sort of thing, where you can send them to a page, but they start clicking through different links about me, our story, here's a few images of me for your from a media kit and whatever. I really don't think that's a great idea, because if somebody wants to look you up and just literally look into your life, then I don't think people do it with websites anymore. I think they do it on social media. I think
Yeah.
now if somebody wants to look me up and find out what I stand for, they try to look into my YouTube channel or my Facebook profile or find my TikTok or something, which is why I kind of ramped up the activity on those this year. But as far as pages go, like if I'm getting someone to a page, whether they found me and kind of swam upstream, or whether I sent them from an ad to my page, I really want to maximize my ROI. And that means that I would much rather invest the effort to capture them, or their email address or their phone number, or both preferably, than to try and quote unquote sell them on me, or try to waste time explaining like who I am. Like, because you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right when you say that people are selfish, like they are. And me and you are no different, by the way. Like when I look for a solution, I really I notice that I zone out pretty much anything that's not related to the solution. Like I'm literally not going to go and flip through 3 pages of a website if I am positive that it's not delivering to me the solution that I need, right? The only reason that I would go and kind of browse through someone's website like that is if I'm having a conversation with you and you're like, hey, do you know this person? It's like, no. And I'll Google them and I'll click on the first link that comes up, and I might flip through the page of, or for a few moments, and then I leave. But uh, that person didn't capture me, which I think is the biggest mistake. So now you represent Lead Pages, which is a software company that helps people build landing pages without knowing anything technical or being a genius, without actually having to deal with hosting, with WordPress, with a lot of the complicated stuff that I used to deal with. Like my first landing page, just so you know, I'll put this into perspective for people. My first landing page was an HTML file that I downloaded from the Warrior Forum, and then I tried to modify it on my computer, and copy all the codes into it, and then I would upload it to my server through an FTP client that had to be hooked up to a domain name. You know, Now, I teach my students how to do it, and it's as simple as signing up for Lead Pages, then starting your account. Then Lead Pages is like, do you have a domain? You're like, no. Okay, let's get you one. So you type in the domain you want. Okay, great. Hit next. It's like, okay, so here's a few templates to get you started. and then just change the text and you're done. And it's like, just like that, without any technical knowledge whatsoever, and it's pretty incredible. Not to mention, by the way, and I'll mention this again towards the end of the episode, that I was able to create templates that I can then share with my students and say, okay, you're not only not going to be starting from scratch, but I pretty much built you a website. You just have to like change a few details, and that's it. So Lead Pages in that way is an amazing piece of software. I love it.